Let us now introduce contestant number 5, Mr. YEH. Please come onto the stage.
The title of his speech is For Whom the Bell Tolls. You now have 3 minutes. You may begin after the bell rings.
Ladies and gentlemen, for us young people, Chinese New Year represents the ephemeral joy of receiving a little more pocket money in the form of lychee. However, the negative consequences of this particular tradition are unaccounted for. Ultimately, after taking the pocket money, we then throw away, mindlessly, all those red paper packets. Green groups report that in this Chinese New Year alone, 10 million of those red paper packets pile up in our trash cans and end up in our landfills. 10 million this year alone. But this may only be the tip of the iceberg. Now let's not talk about technical solutions to this wastage problem. An environmental scientist can come up with anything from biodegradable red packets, which wouldn't look very good, to a local recycling program. But nothing close to this ever comes into realization in Hong Kong. Why? Well, let's face it, we could, but we wouldn't, because the environment costs too much, or it's none of my individual business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want this public perception to persist in Hong Kong. We want Hong Kong to be a dynamic, modern city. But since this public perception exists, it's now for the government to show us a true policy direction through genuine public education. This doesn't mean that culture is compromised. For example, we could set up a communication platform between green groups and the local community to balance the interests between the economy and the environment. We can also provide financial rewards for designers who have both a cultural conscience and a mind for sustainability, to put their designs of rat packets into the market. In the political level, we can lobby for green groups in the political sector. We can levy rubbish taxes to make people think twice before throwing rubbish. But most importantly, we need a bit more critical thinking. If we each had a few ideas, the world would be a better place, wouldn't it? It just takes the willpower and the responsibility, the individual will. Unfortunately, not all of us have it, and society may face destruction. As John Donne once wrote, "No man is an island, and therefore send not to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee."
Thank you for your speech. Ms. Farino will now ask you a question relating to your speech. The bell will ring right after the question has been asked, and you'll have 1 minute to respond to the question. Ms. Farino, please.
Thank you. You speak of several issues in your speech about government's responsibility, about potential public-private partnership to solve this environmental issue, but in the end you speak also of individual responsibility and how it takes individuals to make this plan work. What is your recommendation on encouraging your fellow Hong Kong citizens to take this to heart and to make the environment an important issue for themselves?
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know privately that the environment is a serious matter. We see television advertisements every day trying to pursue a green life. But none of us really come to leading a green life. In fact, we care about money more. Do we really need that much money? It's just a material existence. If we want the environment to be sustainable, if we want to have a green life, then we must forego material existence. We must have a spiritual existence as well, and respect Mother Nature just as well.
Thank you. A second question will now be asked by Ms. Trotter. Again, the bell will ring right after the question, and you may then respond to the question. Ms. Trotter, please.
Thank you, Ton. Hong Kong is an international city and English is an international language. Yet many young people shy away from using English. Why do you think this is, and how do you think we might overcome this?
Luckily, I'm speaking in English now, and I'm now promoting, by the way, an English public speaking contest. But of course, it is true that many people don't tend to speak English that well, and they shy away from it. We mustn't be afraid about getting the wrong grammar or putting a preposition at the end of a sentence. This is not what English is all about. I think Hong Kong has a great potential for speaking English. It just takes, again, the individual responsibility. We can promote English in schools, as the government actually has tried so hard to do. But we must also not forget our local identity, and that's Cantonese. This is the face of a modern society. We have both Cantonese and English. If we can continue to keep this in heart, then society will be a better place.
Thank you. Please take a seat. Please remain silent while our judges write down their comments.